The comeback nobody wanted to admit might already be happening. All across the touring world, trikes are starting to show up in places where a lot of riders never expected to see them taken seriously. Not as a joke, not as a backup plan, but as a real answer to what long-distance riding feels like in 2026. Because when comfort matters, when balance gets harder, and when you still are not ready to give up the road, pride starts losing ground to practicality. So today, we are digging into why trikes are getting a second life, who is buying them, and why this shift matters more than most riders think. Stay to the end, because the real reason trikes are coming back says a lot about where motorcycling is headed next. Something changed at the dealerships. Dealers who spend their days watching the ebb and flow of demand have started noticing something unusual across the United States. Traditional touring motorcycles still roll out the doors, of course, but another type of machine has begun drawing unexpected attention. Three-wheel motorcycles, once treated as a niche corner of the market, are suddenly attracting serious interest again. Sales staff who once expected trikes to gather dust in the showroom now report a different story. Some locations have begun placing new orders faster than anticipated. In a few cases, riders have even asked to be placed on waiting lists. For an industry that measures change slowly, those signals matter. Part of the surprise comes from how quickly attitudes appear to be shifting. Only a few years ago, trikes were often viewed as a specialty machine purchased by a narrow group of riders. Many dealers stocked one or two models mainly for completeness rather than expectation. Yet in recent months, conversations between riders and sales staff have started sounding different. Instead of curiosity alone, there is intent behind the questions. Riders ask about ride stability, luggage capacity, and long-distance comfort. Some want to know how a trike handles heavy touring loads. Others ask whether the machine feels planted when rolling slowly through parking lots or city traffic. Conversations like these reveal something deeper than simple curiosity. They hint at a group of riders reevaluating what matters most on the road. For decades, two wheels represented the purest image of motorcycling freedom. Balance, skill, and confidence defined the experience. Yet experience also changes priorities. Riders who have spent years crossing state lines or chasing distant horizons know that long rides eventually demand comfort and endurance. What once felt effortless at 30 years old can feel very different after a lifetime in the saddle. From dealership chatter, the trail leads directly to the riders who never expected their journey on the road to change direction. The riders who never planned to quit. For many motorcyclists, riding is not simply a hobby. It becomes part of the rhythm of life. The road offers a kind of freedom that few other experiences can match. Riders who have spent decades exploring highways often measure time not in years, but in miles traveled. Some remember their first motorcycle as clearly as their first car, while others recall long rides across open states where the horizon seemed endless. That kind of connection to the road does not fade easily. Yet time eventually changes every rider. Balance that once came naturally can become more demanding after decades of riding. Knees grow less forgiving during slow maneuvers, and heavy touring bikes feel different when easing through traffic or backing into a parking space. None of this erases the desire to ride. In fact, for many riders, the desire grows stronger because the road has become such an important part of life. Faced with those realities, riders begin searching for ways to keep the experience alive. Some consider lighter motorcycles, others reduce the distance of their trips. A growing number, however, discover that three wheels provide an entirely different answer. A trike removes the constant balancing act required by traditional motorcycles, while preserving the open-air feeling that defines riding. Instead of worrying about dropping a heavy touring machine at low speed, riders can focus on the journey itself. Another factor quietly influencing this decision involves confidence. Anyone who has ridden long enough understands how unpredictable roads can be. Gravel patches, Uneven pavement or tight parking spaces can challenge even experienced riders. With 3 wheels planted firmly on the road, many riders feel a renewed sense of stability in those situations. That confidence often encourages riders to travel farther than they might have otherwise considered. Behind today's renewed interest lies a gamble made years earlier by a manufacturer willing to imagine a different future for touring motorcycles. If you enjoy honest motorcycle insights like this, take a second to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts below. When Harley took the risk first, long before the recent surge of curiosity surrounding 3-wheel motorcycles, one company quietly committed itself to the concept. Harley-Davidson, known around the world for its touring machines and distinctive V-twin engines, began developing factory-built trikes years earlier. At the time, the decision puzzled many riders. Harley's reputation had always been tied closely to traditional motorcycles. The idea of investing heavily in 3-wheel touring machines seemed unusual to those who believed the company should focus only on 2 wheels. Yet, Harley's engineers were studying something that the broader motorcycle market had not fully recognized. Touring riders were aging, but they were not ready to abandon the road. Many had spent decades riding across the country, building memories tied to highways, mountains, and distant cities. These riders still wanted the comfort and luggage capacity of large touring motorcycles. What they needed was a design that offered greater stability without sacrificing the touring experience. That thinking led to the creation of models like the Tri-Glide Ultra and the Freewheeler. Instead of modifying existing motorcycles through aftermarket conversions, Harley chose to design factory-built trikes engineered specifically for long-distance riding. These machines combined large displacement touring engines with a rear axle that provided the stability riders were beginning to value more than ever. At first, reactions were mixed. Some riders admired the practicality of the design. Others joked that trikes were only for those unwilling to balance a traditional motorcycle. Even so, Harley continued refining the machines year after year. Improvements in suspension, braking, and touring comfort slowly transformed the trike from a novelty into a serious touring platform. As trikes improved year after year, something equally important was happening among riders themselves. If you care about riding longer and feeling better at the end of the day, check the description for the gear and accessories below. The motorcycle matters, but the rest of the setup matters too. The culture around trikes is changing. Motorcycling has always carried a strong sense of identity. Riders often take pride in their machines and the traditions surrounding them. Because of that pride, certain ideas can linger for years. One of those ideas involved the belief that a true motorcycle must always have 2 wheels. For a long time, trikes existed on the edge of the culture rather than at its center. That attitude was reinforced by early trike designs that looked unusual compared with traditional motorcycles. Some models appeared bulky or awkward, and many riders simply preferred the familiar silhouette of a classic cruiser. As a result, trikes were often viewed as specialized machines rather than part of the mainstream riding world. Gradually, however, experiences began reshaping those opinions. Riders who tried modern trikes during long highway trips discovered a surprisingly comfortable ride. Stable handling at low speeds reduced stress during crowded events or parking situations. Carrying luggage became easier, and extended rides placed less strain on the rider. Word spread quietly through riding groups and touring communities. Today, the conversation sounds very different from what it once did. The question is no longer whether trikes belong in motorcycling. Increasingly, the discussion revolves around how large a role they might play in the future of touring. The Harley-Davidson Tri-Glide Ultra. Among factory-built trikes, few machines carry the recognition of the Harley-Davidson Tri-Glide Ultra. For riders who spend serious time on the highway, the model represents something more than a novelty. It represents a purpose-built touring platform designed for distance, stability, and endurance. Built around the Milwaukee 8. 114 cubic inch engine, the Tri-Glide Ultra delivers the kind of torque touring riders expect, when pulling away from a stoplight or climbing long interstate grades. The engine itself carries the familiar rhythm Harley riders recognize instantly, that steady pulse that has defined American touring motorcycles for generations. Beyond the engine, the machine was engineered specifically to handle the demands of long-distance travel. A large trunk mounted behind the passenger seat provides storage space, capable of swallowing helmets, jackets, and gear for multi-day rides. Saddlebags add additional capacity, giving riders room for clothing, tools, and supplies. Riders who have spent years packing gear into limited space quickly notice the advantage of a trike layout designed with storage in mind. Handling also differs from traditional touring motorcycles in ways many riders appreciate after their first long ride. The rear axle distributes weight across two wheels, reducing the balancing effort required when maneuvering at low speeds. Parking lot turns feel less stressful, especially with a fully loaded touring setup. On long highways, the wide stance of the rear wheels creates a planted feeling that many riders describe as reassuring rather than restrictive. A different interpretation of three-wheel riding appears when the touring luxury is stripped away and replaced with a more traditional cruiser spirit. The Harley-Davidson Freewheeler. While the Tri-Glide Ultra leans toward full touring comfort, the Harley-Davidson Freewheeler presents another interpretation of what a three-wheel motorcycle can be. Introduced as a lighter and more aggressive alternative, the Freewheeler removes much of the touring bulk while preserving the core identity of a Harley cruiser. For riders who admire classic Harley styling, the Freewheeler offers a familiar visual presence, combined with the stability that three wheels provide. The design philosophy behind the machine emphasizes simplicity and attitude rather than luxury. Instead of a towering trunk and touring bodywork, the Freewheeler carries a cleaner silhouette. The rear fenders sweep outward over the two rear wheels, creating a muscular appearance that still echoes the lines of traditional Harley cruisers. Riders who value aesthetics as much as performance often appreciate how the machine balances style with practicality. Beneath the styling sits the Milwaukee 8 114 engine used in many Harley touring models, delivering strong low-end torque and immediate acceleration from traffic lights or open-road roll-ons. Paired with a three-wheel layout, the power feels stable even with cargo or a passenger. The riding position sits lower than the Tri-Glide Ultra, with wide handlebars and forward controls that give the familiar feel of a classic cruiser for experienced riders. Beyond traditional cruiser brands, another manufacturer would introduce a design that challenged expectations about how three wheels could function. The Can-Am Spyder opened a new door. When the Can-Am Spyder first appeared on roads, it immediately stood apart from traditional motorcycles. Instead of placing two wheels in the rear, the Spyder positioned two wheels in the front and one in the rear. That unusual layout attracted attention from riders and non-riders alike. Some experienced motorcyclists initially viewed the design with skepticism, wondering whether the machine belonged more to the world of small sports cars than motorcycles. Yet the Spyder demonstrated something significant about the three-wheel concept. Its design offered stability and control that appealed to riders who had never felt comfortable balancing a traditional motorcycle. Electronic stability systems and automotive-style steering contributed to a riding experience that felt approachable even for newcomers. The Spyder emphasized comfort, with upright seating that reduced physical strain during long rides. Touring. Models added larger storage and passenger space for extended travel. As its visibility grew, it attracted buyers beyond traditional motorcycle circles. Some came from sports cars or touring vehicles, seeing the Spyder as an easier way to experience open-air riding. Innovation in the three-wheel world did not stop there, as another manufacturer explored how additional wheels could improve performance, rather than merely stability. Yamaha's radical experiment. Yamaha entered the three-wheel conversation with a design that surprised many riders. Instead of focusing solely on touring comfort or accessibility, Yamaha engineers pursued a concept aimed at enhancing performance and cornering grip. The result was the Yamaha Niken, a sport touring motorcycle equipped with two leaning front wheels working together through an intricate suspension system. Unlike traditional trikes, the Niken allows both front wheels to lean into corners alongside the motorcycle frame. This design maintains the familiar sensation of leaning through curves while increasing front-end traction. Riders accustomed to sport, touring motorcycles immediately recognize the advantage of additional tire contact during aggressive cornering. Yamaha engineered the Niken with linked dual front wheels that move independently yet steer together, creating a planted feel when entering turns, even on uneven or slippery roads. For riders who enjoy winding roads as much as highways, the Niken reimagines three-wheel riding, boosting confidence in spirited cornering, while proving three wheels can deliver performance as well as comfort. A closer look at rider behavior begins to reveal why these machines are finding a place in garages across the country once again: confidence at low speeds. Veteran riders will often tell you that the most demanding moments on a motorcycle rarely happen at highway speed. The real test usually appears when the pace slows down. A crowded parking lot, a tight U-turn on a narrow road, or a gravel shoulder outside a roadside diner can suddenly demand more balance and precision than cruising at 70 miles per hour. Anyone who has spent decades on two wheels knows how quickly a heavy touring machine can begin to lean when momentum disappears. Three-wheel motorcycles approach those situations differently. With two wheels supporting the rear of the machine, the constant balancing act that defines traditional motorcycles disappears. Riders do not need to worry about holding the bike upright while waiting at a traffic light or maneuvering through a crowded event. Instead of concentrating on the physical effort of keeping the motorcycle balanced, the rider can focus on the surroundings, the road ahead, and the rhythm of the ride itself. That difference becomes especially noticeable in everyday riding situations. Pulling into a gas station no longer requires the careful calculations that come with managing a heavy touring motorcycle at walking speed. Tight turns feel less intimidating when the machine remains planted on three contact points. Riders who once avoided uneven gravel parking areas often discover they can approach those situations with far greater confidence. Once the question of stability is answered, another factor begins shaping the decision to ride on three wheels. If you want more clear, straight-talking motorcycle stories like this, make sure you subscribe to the channel. New videos break down the changes shaping the motorcycle world, so you always stay informed about what is really happening on the road. Long-distance comfort. Long-distance riding has always held a special place in motorcycle culture. For many riders, the real joy of motorcycling begins when the highway stretches beyond the horizon, and the next town lies hundreds of miles away. Touring riders often plan routes that cross several states in a single journey, carrying luggage, tools, and sometimes a passenger along for the ride. Traditional touring motorcycles are built for this kind of travel, but they still require riders to manage considerable weight. Saddlebags, passenger gear, and travel equipment can add significant load to a motorcycle. After several hours on the road, the effort of controlling that weight can begin to affect even experienced riders. Balancing a fully loaded touring machine during slow stops or uneven terrain becomes increasingly demanding as the miles accumulate. Three-wheel motorcycles distribute weight across a wide rear axle, creating greater stability when carrying luggage and equipment. Heavy touring gear affects balance far less than on a two-wheel machine, making interstate travel more relaxed. Riders spending long hours in the saddle also notice reduced strain, since the machine stays stable without constant balancing during slow maneuvers. Beyond factory-built machines, another world of customization reveals how deeply three-wheel riding has entered the culture. The trike conversion industry factory. Trikes represent only part of the story. A significant portion of the three-wheel movement comes from an industry that operates far from the main production lines of major manufacturers. Across the country, specialized builders convert traditional motorcycles into trikes through carefully engineered aftermarket kits. These conversions begin with motorcycles that riders already know and love. A cruiser that has carried its owner across thousands of miles does not have to disappear simply because riding conditions change. Instead, builders remove the original rear wheel assembly and replace it with a purpose-built rear axle system. Two wheels, a differential, and upgraded suspension components transform the motorcycle into a three-wheel machine, while preserving much of its original identity. The conversion process requires real craftsmanship. Builders reshape rear bodywork to blend smoothly with the original motorcycle lines, matching paint so the trike looks natural rather than altered. Upgraded brakes and suspension support the added weight. For riders, this means keeping a motorcycle filled with memories, allowing the same machine to continue the journey in a new form. All of these choices eventually lead riders to a single realization about the future of their time on the road: staying in the saddle longer. For many riders, the decision to explore three-wheel motorcycles begins with a simple question about the future. After decades of riding, what happens when balance or physical strength begins to change? Some riders assume that the answer must eventually involve leaving motorcycles behind altogether. Yet the growing presence of trikes offers another possibility. Three-wheel motorcycles allow riders to continue participating in the culture they have known for years. Instead of retiring from the road, they can adapt their riding style to a machine that supports them more comfortably. The experience still includes the open air, the long highway, stretches, and the connection between rider and machine that defines motorcycling. Many riders who transition to trikes describe a similar feeling during their first extended ride. The familiar sensations of wind, engine vibration, and open road return immediately. What disappears is the constant concern about balancing a heavy motorcycle in difficult situations. That absence of stress can make riding enjoyable again, in ways some riders feared they had lost. Beyond the personal reasons riders embrace three wheels, a broader industry transformation is beginning to take shape. Manufacturers are paying attention. Motorcycle manufacturers rarely ignore changes in rider behavior. Every shift in demand, no matter how small it appears at first, eventually reaches the desks of engineers, product planners, and executives who shape the future of the industry. The renewed attention surrounding three-wheel motorcycles has not gone unnoticed in those circles. For companies that study long-term trends carefully, the growing interest in trikes represents more than a temporary curiosity. It signals the possibility of a deeper change in the way riders approach touring and comfort. For decades, motorcycle development focused almost entirely on improving performance, styling, and engine power. Manufacturers competed by building faster machines, more aggressive designs, and increasingly sophisticated technology. Yet many companies now recognize that another factor influences purchasing decisions just as strongly as horsepower or styling. That factor is accessibility. Riders who have spent years mastering traditional motorcycles sometimes begin looking for machines that maintain the experience of riding while reducing the physical demands involved. Three-wheel motorcycles address that concern directly. By adding stability and improving weight distribution, trikes create an environment where riders can continue exploring long distances without the same balancing challenges required by two-wheel touring machines. Manufacturers understand that this advantage appeals not only to longtime riders, but also to individuals who may have hesitated to enter the motorcycle world before. A closer look at the touring world reveals why this development could reshape one of the most important segments of the motorcycle industry: the future of the touring segment. Touring motorcycles have always occupied a special place within American motorcycling culture. From the earliest cross-country rides to modern highway journeys, touring machines represent freedom, endurance, and exploration. Large engines, comfortable seating, and generous storage capacity allow riders to travel far beyond the limits of ordinary transportation. For many enthusiasts, the touring motorcycle symbolizes the ultimate expression of long-distance riding. As interest in trikes continues to grow, some riders and industry analysts have begun reconsidering the future of this touring segment. Traditionally, touring motorcycles have been defined by two wheels, wide handlebars, and large fairings designed to protect riders from wind and weather. These machines excel at carrying riders across hundreds of miles of open highway in relative comfort. Three-wheel motorcycles introduce another dimension to that experience. By adding an additional rear wheel, manufacturers create a platform capable of supporting heavier loads and providing increased stability during long journeys. Riders who once struggled with balancing a fully loaded touring bike may discover that a trike offers a more relaxed alternative for extended travel. A different perspective on the trike phenomenon emerges when the conversation shifts from riders to the businesses that support them. Why dealers value trikes. Motorcycle dealerships operate in a world shaped by both passion and economics. While many dealership employees share the enthusiasm riders feel for motorcycles, the business side of the industry must also consider revenue, inventory, and long-term sustainability. Within that context, three-wheel motorcycles have become increasingly significant. Trikes often represent higher value purchases compared with many traditional motorcycles. Their complex construction and specialized components place them in a premium price category within dealership showrooms. For dealerships, this means each trike sale carries considerable financial importance. A single three-wheel motorcycle can represent a substantial investment by a rider who intends to keep the machine for years. Another factor contributing to their value lies in customization. Riders who purchase trikes frequently add accessories designed to enhance comfort and touring capability. Additional lighting systems, upgraded seating, luggage racks, and navigation equipment are common additions. Each accessory not only improves the riding experience, but also supports the dealership's service and parts departments. Beyond industry strategy and dealership economics lies a deeper reason, explaining why three-wheel motorcycles continue attracting riders. The deeper reason behind the comeback. The renewed interest in three-wheel motorcycles may appear to revolve around engineering innovations or market strategies. Yet, beneath those factors lies a more personal motivation shared by many riders. For individuals who have spent years exploring open roads, riding becomes more than transportation. It becomes a form of identity and connection with the world beyond everyday routines. Riders who have logged thousands of miles often develop a deep appreciation for the freedom motorcycling provides. Long highways stretching across open landscapes create memories that remain vivid long after the engines fall silent. For these riders, the thought of leaving motorcycling behind can feel like losing a part of themselves. Three-wheel motorcycles offer a path that allows those riders to continue their journey. Instead of stepping away from the road entirely, they can adapt to a machine that provides greater stability and comfort. The open-air experience remains intact, as does the connection between rider, machine, and landscape. What changes is simply the number of wheels touching the pavement. Trikes may never replace the old two-wheel tradition, and for a lot of riders, they were never supposed to. But in 2026, it is getting harder to ignore what they represent. Comfort, confidence, and a way to keep riding when the miles start asking more from you. Maybe that is not the end of motorcycling as we knew it. Maybe it is just the next chapter. Now, I want to hear from you. Are trikes making a real comeback? Or will they always stay a niche choice? If you enjoyed the video, like it, subscribe to the channel, and let me know your take below.